Hey, it's Bill and Ted Day today, so you know what number I'm thinking of.
69, dudes!
Right, of course. Hey, happy Bill and Ted Day to all those who celebrate. I don't want to know how you celebrate. I just realized that what that might mean. Anyway, why that number? Why that number? Why was our favorite time-traveling duo thinking of that number? Well, I mean, I know why, in a sense, because I know that ever since we first heard about this secret code in elementary school, we've been giggling ever since. But even though there's an obvious symmetry to those numbers and they evoke a certain imagery, we didn't come up with them. We knew that, right? And while sure, the act itself has been around as long as humans have, I mean, let's face it, humans are weird and really want to experiment and have fun, and they're curious people. But a description of it even appears in the approximately 1800-year-old Kama Sutra, although it's referred to as something that evokes completely different imagery. They call it the Congress of a Crow. I don't know. But who was the first to associate 69 with, well, as with plenty of other forms of debauchery, and the word debauchery itself, actually, we have the French to thank for it, because it seems like the first time this number appeared in the salacious context to which we're referring right now was in a 1790 sex manual called, rather reductively, so the Whore's Catechism, where it was referred to it in the French, of course, which was 69. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Anyway, since it was in the context of a courtesan, maybe it was like a sort of a way of ordering, what you wanted, kind of like a Chinese takeout. I'll take a number 69 and a side of fried rice. You do what you want. Anyway, some say the author of that particular book was someone named Anne Joseph Tervogne, which again, I know I'm butchering these, but she was a Belgian woman who was in France fighting for gender equality during the French Revolution. In fact, so fed up she was with how women were treated that she dropped her feminine-sounding name for, let's see, I've got it written here, Theron de Méricourt. Theron de Méricourt. But during her political activism, men were so determined to, discredit her. They threw everything at her, including referring to her past as a courtesan herself. And so whether she actually wrote the book or they were just attempting some sort of political smear, I don't know. But that's what we know. So anyway, from there, it's rumored to have reached the shores of the United States thanks to our founding father and American Francophile Benjamin Franklin. Although, if that's true, it seems that he would have had to have been aware of this particular turn of phrase before the book was published, because he died in 1790, the same year it was around which we supposedly got it. Even though it was supposedly in use in the 19th century in the U.S., it doesn't seem to have been part of our common lexicon until the 1970s, which, of course, positioned it perfectly, pun intended, for use in 1980s pop culture, hence why I'm talking about it. Rick James sang about it in his 1982 song, She Blew My Mind 69 Times. Listen to the lyrics if you're not familiar with it. And of course, Bryan Adams had a hit in 1985 with The Summer of 69, which just recently Adams revealed is intended to be a double entendre. Man, those French. So many things related to, Anyway, and of course, our favorite time-traveling heroes used it as a number to confirm they were, in fact, speaking to their alternate selves, or their selves from an alternate timeline, I suppose. Of course they were, right? That's probably the number you would have thought of if you were doing that, too. It's pretty fascinating how, folks of a certain generation, we know that number. We know what it refers to. We've been giggling for decades now. But we learned about it from one another without the advent of the electronic, digital and social media that we have today. Just word of mouth from a big brother or a cousin or that weird guy down the street. Stay away from that guy, incidentally. It's fascinating how it continues today, too. Anyway, when do you first remember hearing it? I don't know. Anyway, for more chat about 1980s pop culture like this, check out our podcast. It comes out every week, 1980s Now. All right, I'll talk to you then.